Hi, welcome to Saturday's Connect Live Corona Chronicles, and today is Kids Day. I want to tell you a very famous story of a miracle that Jesus did. And this story starts with 4 friends. I don't know how many friends you've got today, but these 4 friends, they had one friend, and this one friend used to sit on a mat all day long. The problem was that this man's legs didn't work, and they heard that Jesus was in town, and so the 4 friends decided that they would pick up their one friend on his mat and take him to see Jesus. But when they arrived in the town, they realized that Jesus was inside of a house. Now, normally Jesus would go up onto a mountain or a hillside, and everybody could see him, but on this particular day, for whatever reason, I don't know whether it was raining, he was inside of a house. You couldn't get near the windows, you couldn't get through the door. But you know what? The 4 friends, they did not give up. They looked for a way to try and get their friend to Jesus. You know, sometimes I think we just give up too easily, but not these 4 friends. They, with their 2 good legs each, that's 8 legs, they picked up their friend on his mat and they looked for a way to get him to Jesus. Well, they realized that there was a way that they could get him, because this house had some steps on the side of the house. Now, I know normally steps go on the inside of the house with your stairs, but in houses in the country of Israel, oftentimes they have stairs on the outside of the house, because the reason is that they don't have houses with roofs like this, but they have houses with roofs like this, because it's often sunny in the country of Israel. So it means that you can use the top of your house for lots of things. Even in the sunny weather, you can sleep up there. And so they picked up their friend. The 4 of them grabbed him. They carried him up the stairs onto the roof of the house. And when they got him onto the roof of the house, they started to do something which I'm glad it wasn't my house that they were doing it to, because they began to dig a hole in the roof. At first, the hole was pretty small. You could only see your eye through it, but then after a while, the hole got bigger and bigger and bigger, until eventually one of them was able to reach his head through the hole. And by this time, nobody was listening to Jesus. Everybody was looking at the 4 friends who were digging the hole for their one friend to get their friend through the hole in the roof. Eventually, when the hole was big enough, they picked up their friend, they tied him to a rope in his mat, and they lowered him down until the friend was at the feet of Jesus. When he was at the feet of Jesus, Jesus looked down at the man on the floor, but then he looked up at the 4 friends, and this is what it says. It says, because of the 4 friends' faith, he looked down at the one friend. You see, as far as we know, it wasn't this one friend that had faith in Jesus, but it was the 4 friends that carried him that had faith in Jesus, because they knew that if they brought their friend to Jesus, that Jesus could help them. And then Jesus said the strangest thing to the man who was sitting on the mat. He says, "Your sins are forgiven you." The 4 friends on the roof thought, "What? We haven't asked you to forgive his sins, Jesus. Why will we want you to make his legs better?" But you see, Jesus realized there was something more important than getting legs that worked, and that was a heart that was right before God. And then he saw all of the other crowd who were looking at him thinking, who does Jesus think he is? Only God can forgive sins. But Jesus said, "I know what you're thinking," because Jesus knows what we're thinking. And he said, "I'm going to do something just as impossible." And so he turned to the man who was sitting on the floor on his mat, and he said, "Get up and walk." And when he said those words, all of a sudden, the man who was on the floor with the 2 legs that didn't work began to stand up on his own 2 feet. The 4 friends looking down at their friend, now standing up and then leaping around and praising God, were so thankful. They climbed down the stairs on the side of the house. They picked up their friend. 5 of them walked away from that place. And that day, Jesus had done 2 amazing miracles. Not only had he healed the man, but more importantly, he'd forgiven him for the wrong things in his life. And do you know what? This story would never have happened were it not for the 4 friends who made a difference in their friend's life. I wonder whose life we can make a difference in today. I hope that you've enjoyed my story of the miracle of Jesus.